I met Gloria at a church potluck. I know, not exactly how most people expect a story like this to start, but that's how it went. She brought some store-bought macaroni salad and told everyone she made it herself, and somehow I still fell for her. 14 years later, I still think about that salad. We got married 2 years after we met. I was working for the county as a building inspector, and she was in marketing, whatever that actually meant, because half the time she was in between contracts, but somehow always had her nails done. She was charming, sharp, the kind of woman who could sell sand to a desert town. I always felt a little out of my league, to be honest. I thought that was love. Turns out it was foreshadowing. We had a solid rhythm. Mornings with coffee and local news. Sunday evening budget reviews with spreadsheets and wine, her idea, not mine. We go camping twice a year, hit Cracker Barrel after church, argue about thermostat settings. Normal marriage stuff. Boring, maybe. But boring was safe. I liked safe. Then things started to shift. I noticed it on a Tuesday. Gloria came home, and for the first time in who knows how long, she didn't ask how my day was. Just walked in, hung up her keys, and went straight to the bedroom. No hug. No kiss. Just a hey, like I was her roommate. I didn't think much of it. People have off days. But then Tuesday turned into a week. A month. A season. I'd be sitting on the couch, flipping through channels, and she'd be on her phone, not just scrolling but typing. Laughing. That low chuckle she usually saved for actual humans. I cracked a joke about how she was texting the Pope or something. She didn't laugh. Just looked up, blinked, and said, "You wouldn't get it." I wouldn't get it? That's when I knew something was up. I started paying closer attention. Not the creepy kind. I wasn't digging through drawers or following her around town. Just watching. The way she started wearing perfume again. Lipstick on a Tuesday. The gym clothes that never saw the gym. Our conversations thinned out. Everything about her got curated. Like she was playing a part, just not in my play. And then came the meeting. Every first Thursday of the month, Gloria had what she called strategy group. A few former coworkers, mostly women, who met up at some coffee shop in Midtown. She never let me come, said it was a sacred circle of estrogen and ambition. Cute. But this time, she left her iPad behind. Unlocked. Just sitting there like bait. Now look, I know what you're thinking. Here comes the moment he checks her messages. Nope. I didn't touch it. I stared at it for 10 straight minutes, my hand hovering like I was defusing a bomb. But no, that's not how I operate. Gloria was free to have her privacy. I just didn't want her to keep weaponizing it. So I waited, watched, and I planned. There was this guy at work, Luke, in IT, a little weird, big on conspiracy theories, but sharp when it came to anything with a screen. I asked him how to set up a shared calendar between spouses. Said it was for better communication. He nodded like he'd heard that one before. I got Gloria to install it on her phone under the guise of syncing our schedules. She agreed, barely looking up. I made it so every time she scheduled something, dinner with a friend, weekend seminar, anything with a location, it pinged me too. I didn't even need to look at her messages. Her calendar told the story. And that's when things got interesting. Next month's strategy group happened to be at a location that didn't exist. A fake coffee shop address in a part of town with no businesses at all. I double-checked. Nothing there but a dry cleaner and a vape shop that hadn't been open since 2020. I stared at that calendar entry like it owed me money. I didn't say anything yet. Just nodded when she came home that night and asked how the brainstorming went. "Oh, you know," she said, peeling off her blazer. Exhausting, but productive. Then there was the Friday she claimed to be out with her friend Jenna. I called Jenna to ask what brand of wine she liked, and she said she hadn't seen Gloria in weeks. Gloria came home late that night, hair tousled, shirt untucked, and gave me a sleepy smile like everything was fine. That's when I stopped believing in coincidences. It's funny, isn't it? You think you know someone because you've seen them brush their teeth, lose their keys, cry during that same dumb Nicholas Sparks movie every Thanksgiving. But people change. Or maybe they were always like that, and you just ignored the glitches in the matrix. So I decided to stop asking questions. Instead, I watched. Waited. And when I finally found the thread that unraveled the whole thing, it wasn't her phone, her friends, or her calendar that gave her away. It was a planner. A stupid, physical, spiral-bound planner from Target. Let me tell you about the planner. Every Christmas, Gloria insists on giving herself a little self-care package. It's her thing. Candles, overpriced lotions, and a new planner. Always the same kind. Wire-bound, faux leather cover, big enough to look important but not bulky enough to be suspicious. She'd spend hours filling it out in January, claiming it was for goal visualization. Whatever that means. This year was no different, except it was March, and she left it out. I was cleaning out the hall closet. Not because I'm some neat freak. I was trying to find the charger for our stupid cordless vacuum that dies after 3 minutes of use. I reached up to the top shelf, and boom, planner comes tumbling down like it was hiding up there on purpose. I caught it. Almost put it back. Almost. But then I saw a red sticky note poking out from the March tab, like it wanted to be found. So yeah, I opened it. She had entries like, J at 3 p.m. Make sure to wear flats, winking face. Happy hour. Don't forget the gold hoops, he loves those. Call Elliot before leaving, check if it's safe. Now I don't know who Elliot is, but I do know this. I've never heard her mention a single person named Jay in our entire marriage. Not once. And the last time she wore gold hoops was our anniversary 5 years ago. So I started flipping through it, like a slow, deliberate autopsy of my marriage. There were notes like, Tuesday, take car to Chet. Get back before 5. Hotel receipt in glove box, remove after Friday. Wait, a hotel receipt? The same week she told me she was working late on a deadline? It was like reading someone else's life. Someone bolder. Riskier. Someone who thought she was too clever to get caught. It wasn't what was written, it was how confident she was that I'd never look. That's when it clicked. She didn't think I was dumb. She just thought I was too normal to notice. She didn't write names. She didn't use full addresses. Just code words that clearly made sense to her and the other party. Like Jay, Chet, pickup from church lot, and this weird recurring phrase, watchtower. Now to you, that probably sounds like some cult reference. But to me, it was something else, because we do have a watchtower lane in town. I drove past it all the time. It's a half-dead commercial strip with a shuttered Sears, a nail salon that always smells like onions, and, you guessed it, an old coin laundry. It's also where Gloria used to work before we got married. She did temp gigs at some boring insurance firm on that street. She hated it, called it the dead zone. And now she was going back there? Repeatedly? I didn't say anything. I just slipped the planner into a bag of old holiday decorations and shoved it back in the closet like I'd never seen it. That was Thursday. On Friday, I waited for her to head to the gym. She packed a different gym bag this time, not her usual one. No yoga mat. No water bottle. Just some neatly folded clothes and her curling iron. Oh, and she left with her wedding ring on, but I knew from the planner, she never wore it on Fridays. She even had a note, leave ring on for cover, take off after parking. So I followed her. I know, sounds cliche, but listen, I didn't follow her like some amateur with binoculars. I stayed 2 cars behind. I knew her routines better than anyone. I knew when she'd make a U-turn because she forgot gas, when she'd pretend to stop at CVS for gum. I didn't take the bait. She pulled into a parking lot behind the old Sears. Parked in the corner. Stayed in the car. 5 minutes later, a blue Toyota pulls up next to her. Driver didn't get out. She got into his car. Not a wave. Not a pause. Just a quick glance over the shoulder, and she was gone. Like she'd done it a dozen times. And me? I sat there across the street at that weird diner with the cracked windows, sipping stale coffee like I was in a B-movie. You know what really nailed it? On her way back, 90 minutes later, she stopped at the post office. I almost didn't follow, but I did. She mailed something. Small envelope. No return address. I came back the next morning. Went inside, told the guy behind the counter I needed to find an envelope sent without a return. He gave me the usual, that's not how mail works speech. But I asked him, off the record, if he could tell me where that letter was going. I slipped him a $20. He slipped me a sticky note. R. Halpern, 3076 Buckner Ridge. Buckner Ridge. Gated community. Not some sketchy motel or bachelor pad. This was real. This guy had an address she knew. That's when I knew. This wasn't casual. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning. That afternoon, I finally Googled the name. Rick Halpern. And guess what popped up? Not a mugshot. Not some trashy dating profile. No. His LinkedIn. VP of operations at her old job. Her boss. From 5 years ago. Divorced, with 2 adult kids and a lake house outside the city. His last post? A fresh start at 52. Now here's the thing. You can't always prove a marriage is dead from one moment. But this wasn't one moment. This was a strategy. A schedule. A second life. And she never once suspected I knew. I could have blown up right then. Stormed in, confronted her, packed her things. But I didn't. That's not how I work. You see, I wasn't done collecting. Not yet. Because if you're going to take apart a machine that ran for 14 years, you better understand how every bolt was put in. And I had one more bolt to find. The one in our own home. You ever walk into your own kitchen and feel like you don't belong? That was me, standing in front of the microwave, watching my coffee reheat like it was the most important thing in the world. Gloria walked in behind me, phone in hand, still doing that fake smile thing people do when they're texting someone they shouldn't be. She was humming. Actually humming. I hadn't heard her hum in years. Not even when she was happy. No? She was practically floating. I took my coffee, sat down at the table, and said nothing. And that was the moment I realized something. She didn't suspect a thing. Not one bit. She thought I was still clueless, still muttering about potholes and property taxes and whatever else keeps a boring husband distracted while his wife reorganizes her extracurriculars. It was insulting, really, but also kind of liberating. I had all the cards. She didn't even know there was a game. So I started playing. For the next few days, I became the version of Harold she liked best, the cheerful, oblivious husband who asked dumb questions about laundry settings and complimented her meatloaf like it was Michelin-rated cuisine. Every little strategy meeting she went to, I offered to drive. Save gas, I'd say with a smile. She always declined, of course. Wouldn't want her passenger seat to pick up the sin of betrayal. Then came Sunday. I set the trap, and she walked right into it. I told her we were invited to dinner at the Collins house, our neighbors. Completely made it up. Said Rick Collins had gotten a promotion, and they were throwing together a little celebration. Gloria lit up like a Christmas tree. Said she'd check her planner and make it work. That told me two things. She hadn't scheduled anything with Rick Halpern that night, which meant she'd have to move something else around, which she did. I peeked into her planner that afternoon while she was in the shower. It was open on her side of the desk, like she wanted to get caught. Only now, Watchtower had been scratched out. New entry. C. Makeup for Thursday. So, C was being rescheduled. I waited until Sunday evening. We got dressed. She wore the dress she only saves for formal events, navy blue, sleeveless, slightly too tight in the chest for a woman who hates attention. She sprayed the perfume she used to save for date nights. And I put on a shirt I hadn't touched since a funeral 3 years ago. Buttoned down. Tucked in. I looked like a man about to lose everything, which was convenient, because that's how I felt. We got in the car. I drove. She kept checking her phone like she was waiting for something. Maybe a cancellation. Maybe a last-minute excuse. But it never came. Instead, I pulled into the Collins driveway, which, again, was completely dark because no one was home. She frowned. Wait, are they out? I parked. Yeah, looks like it. Maybe we're early. Then I turned off the engine and said, very calmly, while we're waiting, I need to ask you something. She blinked. What? And I handed her the planner. Open to the page. The one with the scribbled initials. The sticky notes. The highlighted J entries. All of it. She stared at it for a full 5 seconds. Her fingers froze on the leather cover. She didn't try to grab it. Didn't deny it. Just stared. Then she did what cheaters always do first. She got mad. Are you going through my stuff now? Is that who you are? You spy on me. No, I said. I waited. I paid attention. That's different. She started to speak, but I cut her off. You met him behind the Sears parking lot. You mailed something to his house last week. You've been lying about the gym, Jenna, and whatever the hell a Watchtower is supposed to mean. And Gloria. She looked at me like she was trying to morph into a different person right in front of me. Like she could switch characters mid-scene if she tried hard enough. You're not even good at this. Now she stood up. In my car. In the driveway. Like we were on a stage. You're twisting everything. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. You'd overreact. You're obsessive, Harold. You always have to know everything. Every little detail. You were slept with your ex-boss, I said flatly. That shut her up. Silence. And for the first time, I saw it on her face, not guilt, not shame, but relief. Like she didn't have to lie anymore. Like she could finally stop pretending. That was the worst part. Not the betrayal. Not the affair. But the ease she had in dropping it all. Like her marriage was a pair of shoes that no longer fit. She finally spoke. I was lonely. No, Gloria. You were bored. There's a difference. She turned to look out the window. No tears. No apology. Just that distant look people get when they've already made peace with being the villain. You don't get it, she said quietly. I get it, I said. I just don't respect it. We didn't go home together. She took an Uber. Said she needed space. And I sat there in the dark driveway for another 20 minutes, thinking about how we got here. 14 years. 2 mortgages. A dog we shared like a kid. All of it. Hijacked by a man with a LinkedIn profile and just enough hair to fool her into thinking she was young again. But that's fine. Because she has no idea what's coming next. I'm not the guy who sends angry texts. I'm not the guy who begs. I'm the guy who prepares. And the thing about Gloria? She's about to learn how dangerous a quiet man with time can be. I didn't call her the next day. Didn't text either. No dramatic speeches, no sad playlists on loop. Just silence. The kind that says, I know exactly what I'm doing, and you don't. And let me tell you, for someone like Gloria, silence is worse than screaming. She came home Monday evening like nothing happened. Let herself in, set her purse on the counter like she hadn't emotionally torched our entire marriage in the Collins driveway 2 nights ago. I was sitting on the couch, calm, composed, watching an old episode of Wheel of Fortune. You know, domestic bliss. Hey, she said, like she was walking into Target. Hey, I replied. Didn't even look at her. She hovered by the doorway, probably waiting for a fight. But when you've already been betrayed, fighting is a waste of energy. What she didn't know, what made this so perfect, is that everything she did for the past 3 months was about to work against her. She went upstairs to change. That's when I pulled out the folder. Let's rewind for a second. See, Gloria was never the financial brains in the relationship. She liked spending, I liked tracking. She'd laugh when I color-coded our budget spreadsheets, called me a low-rent accountant. Cute. Except now, those spreadsheets were my artillery. I had receipts, dates, timestamps, bank records, photos from that laundry strip where she played house in the backseat of a Toyota. And most importantly, I had legal leverage. Because while Gloria was busy playing out her workplace romance fantasy sequel with Rick Halpern, she forgot one key detail. The prenup she insisted we skip when we got married was never really skipped. Yeah, I signed one. She didn't. But she signed something else, a joint property agreement on the house, drafted when we refinanced 3 years ago. Her signature, notarized. And here's the kicker. It gave me the right to make financial decisions on the property without her presence, provided I could demonstrate cause, like, say, marital misconduct. So what did I do? I sold the house. Not to just anyone, to my cousin Mason, who owns a flipping company and had been bugging me about buying in our neighborhood. Gave him a friends and family discount if he closed fast. Mason doesn't ask questions, just signs checks. The house went into escrow 48 hours after I confronted her. I didn't tell her. Why would I? Instead, I waited. I took half of everything out of our joint account, the legal half, not a penny more. I canceled the utilities, switched the Wi-Fi password, forwarded my mail to my brother's place, set up a new Amazon account. Every practical string that tied us together, I snipped it. Then I did one final thing. I created an event on our shared calendar. Friday goodbye. That morning, I sat at the kitchen table and printed 2 things, a notarized letter of sale and a post-it note with my new address. I left both in the fruit bowl, the one she never actually used, but always filled with fake lemons because it looked upscale. Then I left, but not before stopping by Rick Halpern's place. No, I didn't go in. I'm not a lunatic. I just dropped off a small package on his front porch, brown wrapping, neatly tied string. Inside, a copy of Gloria's planner, with every entry she wrote about him highlighted in pink. And on the last page, I left a sticky note that said, just so you know, you weren't her only J. Good luck figuring out who the others are. Because here's the thing. I did some digging. Turns out, Rick wasn't the first. Not even the second. There was a Jason in 2021. Jeremy in 2019. One trip to the Apple store and a quiet afternoon syncing her old iCloud notes told me everything. And no, I'm not proud of it. But if you're gonna get burned, you may as well learn what lit the match. I never confronted her with the full list. That wasn't the point. The point was letting her wonder how much I knew. Letting him question whether she'd ever really been exclusive. Letting them spiral while I quietly walked away from the wreckage like a man who just evacuated a burning building with the insurance check in hand. By the time Friday rolled around, I was settled into a modest but clean apartment on the east side of town. Unpacked. Peaceful. My brother brought over a 6-pack and we sat in silence on folding chairs, watching baseball like it was any other Friday. Meanwhile, Gloria? She came home to an empty house with no heat, no internet, no groceries, and no legal rights to stop the sale. She called once. Didn't leave a voicemail. Texted, "What the hell did you do?" I replied with 3 words. "Check the bowl." She never texted again. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cruel. It was just fair. Gloria treated our marriage like a season of a show she could cancel at any time. So I ended it with a final episode she didn't see coming. You want to cheat? Fine. But don't insult my intelligence while you do it. You want to rewrite the story? Don't forget who wrote the first half. She showed up at my door 5 days later. No warning. No text. Just the sound of that hollow knock, the kind you hear in horror movies right before someone opens the wrong door. I didn't move at first. Just watched her through the peephole. Hair pulled back. No makeup. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. I considered ignoring her. But then again, I figured, after 14 years, she earned 5 minutes. I opened the door. She didn't say anything right away. Just stood there like she was expecting me to cave and pull her into a hug. Like I was still that guy. The dependable one. The one who'd wipe her tears and ask what he did to upset her this time. Not anymore. "Wow," she said finally, glancing past me into the apartment. "So this is where you live now?" "Yep." "Want a tour?" "Couch. TV. Fridge. Door." She blinked. "I'm not here to fight." "Good. I'm not here to forgive." That rattled her. Not because I said it, but because I meant it. She stepped in without asking, like she still had some kind of authority. I let her. Not because I wanted to, but because I knew this would be the last time I ever saw her. She sat down on the couch like it was a deposition. Hands folded. Back straight. Practiced. "I just wanted to talk," she said, voice soft. The kind of soft people use when they've lost all their leverage. "You want tea or an apology?" I asked. "Because I'm fresh out of both." She smiled, barely. "You're different now." "No. You're just finally seeing who I was while you were busy looking past me." That landed. She looked down at her hands, like they held some version of her she could still believe in. Then came the big speech. The "I made a mistake" monologue. Said it started with loneliness. Said she never planned to betray me. Said it was a moment of weakness that turned into a complicated situation. She even used the word complicated, like this was a tax return or a group chat that got out of hand. I let her talk. She apologized. Said she missed me. Said she couldn't sleep in the house anymore, that it felt haunted, with me gone. I nearly laughed. "Haunted? Gloria, you're the one who buried it." "I thought you'd yell," she said, watching my face. "I thought you'd lose it. Tell me off. You're not worth yelling at anymore." That one cracked her armor. She sat back like I'd punched her. "I deserve that," she said. "No, you deserve worse. But I'm not going to waste that kind of energy." Silence. Then, "So what happens now?" I shrugged. "Now? I move on. You keep lying to yourself. Eventually Rick figures out who you really are. Then you repeat the cycle." She swallowed hard. "You think he'll leave me?" "No. I think you'll leave him. Because that's what you do when things stop being about you." That's when she started crying. Not the kind that makes you feel bad, the kind that comes too late. The kind that's more about losing control than feeling regret. "I didn't want this," she said through tears. "You wanted excitement," I replied. "You got chaos." Close enough. She stood up like she was about to say something meaningful. A closer. A final line. I beat her to it. "Next time you cheat on someone, maybe don't write it all down in a $12 planner from Target." She blinked, stunned. "Yeah," I said. "I saw everything. And I didn't burn your life down. I just took the matchbook and walked away." She opened her mouth again. "Don't," I said, pointing to the door. "We're done. I gave you half my life. You gave me excuses. I'm good." She lingered. "I mean it, Gloria. You leave now, or I call Rick and tell him you're still wearing your wedding ring in public, just in case." She walked out. Didn't look back. And I stood there for a full minute after the door closed, waiting for the sadness. For the regret. For the punch in the gut that should have followed after 14 years. But nothing came. Just the sound of the lock clicking back into place. And I've never slept better. You want a finale? You got it next. 2 weeks after Gloria walked out of my apartment, she sent a letter. Yeah, an actual letter. Like we were in 1952 and she was writing from the war front. Cream envelope, neat cursive on the front. No return address, of course, just our old zip code. I didn't open it. Still haven't. It's sitting in the drawer where I keep takeout menus and expired coupons. Every now and then, I see it when I'm looking for the number to the Chinese place down the street. I flip right past it. No curiosity. No, what if? Just a quiet sense of victory. Because here's the truth no one tells you about betrayal. You don't need closure from the person who broke you. You just need to live better than the lie they left you with. So that's what I've been doing. I didn't start hitting the gym or buying new clothes. I didn't move to Miami and start dating women half my age. I just got real. With myself. With my life. With what matters. First thing I did? I got rid of the old routines. The Sunday budget meetings? Gone. I eat what I want now. I leave dishes in the sink if I feel like it. I park diagonally when no one's around. It's small, dumb stuff. But it's mine. And it adds up. I took up woodworking. Built a bookshelf last month. It's crooked as hell, but I love it. Every time I see it leaning like a drunk uncle at a barbecue, I smile. Because I built it. With my own two hands. And it didn't lie to me or sneak around behind my back. It just exists. Honest and solid, even if it's not perfect. Funny how something can be a disaster and still hold up. That bookshelf is basically a metaphor for me. I also reconnected with people I lost track of. My brother. Old friends. Guys I hadn't talked to since college. Turns out, when your wife isn't dragging you to every networking brunch or pretending to care about her coworkers' kids, you've actually got time to remember who you were before all of it. I even saw Jenna, her best friend, at a grocery store. She walked right past me, eyes wide like she'd seen a ghost. Probably didn't expect me to be smiling. Or dressed like a man who wasn't falling apart. I gave her a nod. Not a word. Just enough to let her know I didn't need explanations. Word gets around, by the way. I heard Rick moved her into his house. Real quiet like. No social media announcement. No new photos. Just a soft reset of his life, hoping nobody notices he brought a storm inside. But you can't hide that kind of storm forever. They'll implode eventually. Because that's what people like Gloria do. They orbit around others until they burn everything out. Then they float to the next source of light, blaming the last for being too dim. Not my problem anymore. People keep asking if I'll date again. Sure. Eventually. But I'm not in a rush. I'm not trying to fill a space she left. That space is better empty for now. Gives me room to breathe. To rebuild. On my terms. If there's anything I've learned from all this, it's that peace isn't something you get from someone else. It's what you find when you stop chasing explanations and start living like you deserve better. And I do. She took 14 years. I've got the rest of my life. That's a trade I'll take every single time. Subscribe to the channel